Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me for Simply Spiritual. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the I Am Mantras, and today's mantra is I am humble. I am humble. I am hummus of the earth, as all creatures on planet Earth are. I am humble, for even though I know there is nothing that I can't do, I am also knowing I need assistance from my others to accomplish those things that I am not able to do on my own. I am humble, for I understand that I have gifts and others may possess some gifts that I do not. Therefore, sometimes I must seek outside myself. So it is uttered, so it is. Please join me in welcoming Kiara to the show. Welcome, Kiara.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I am happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for your patience as I learn how to do this live stuff.
Oh, no problems. No problems. Technology is crazy. Okay.
It really is. It really is. So, uh, one moment. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, Kiara, and what brings you here.
Yeah, so I am Kiara Wilson. So I'm the owner of an award-winning radio station, always and forever representing the Carolinas. But we are now out here in Florida, and that is True Dreams Radio. So 24/7, we do stream all genres of independent artist music, old school, new school, R&B, and we support literally all genres of artists, creatives, curators, entrepreneurs, you name it. We will support your movement. So I am here today. I'm very excited to be able to talk about having this good balance of your spiritual integrity, but then also with your business, with business etiquette.
So, as divine feminines, we know that the feminine is rising to her rightful place as the natural leader of this planet.
Mhm.
Keeping in mind that we must not lead as the man or the male did, and we must lead with love and compassion. Keeping that in mind, on the business front, we as female leaders must realize that there's a balance between being business minded and that is putting us in our masculine. We must also balance the spiritual and ethical aspect of that. Please touch on that for us.
Yes, no, definitely. I think that is super important. I think that, for an example, corporate America teaches you not to talk about religion and politics in the workforce, right? Because it can trigger people, the best way to put it, or it can create a possible hostile environment. But have we ever tried it? That's the best way to put it, because it can actually, to me, create a positive environment, and can actually, to me, also build, I feel like, long lasting relationships. At the end of the day, when we're at our jobs, we're there 5 days out the week. That's the majority of our time, 40 hours a week. If not, sometimes people are doing almost double shifts, right? And so these are people that you are with constantly, every single day. And now, when there are certain trials, tribulations, storms, because we all go through it, all of us get sunshine, all of us get rain, okay? No matter how much money you have, no matter how much less money you have, no matter if you're black, no matter if you're white, no matter if you're five, no matter if you 93, okay? So we all go through it. So to me, it's important to be able to have, as a woman especially, being able to lead with that balance of that spiritual integrity, but then also still keeping that business etiquette in mind. So how do you do that? The best way to put it, right? And I think that for starters is being in tune with yourself, finding a love for yourself, and really also understanding whoever you decide to worship. Us being Baha'is, I'm a Baha'i and I'm a Christian. Baha'i is the best way to put it, you guys. We respect and we believe in every manifestation of God. We believe just because you are Buddhism, just because you are Christian, just because you are Muslim, okay, why can't we all still come together because we are humans? And why can't we make sure that we give back to, in particular, our children, our junior youth, and in our community, and building unity, right? So now let's take this to our workforce. We have to be able to look at people the exact same way. It is okay for someone to be able to say, if it was nothing but my God, right? That got you through a storm, that got you through a trials and tribulation. Rather than people sometimes feeling uncomfortable to not even mention God, to talk about the journey or the testimonies or the success that they have gone through. And so I feel like when you have that dynamic where you can be able to not like not necessarily pick on, okay, well, why do you believe in being a Muslim, why do you believe in Christianity? We just respect that, hey, this one God, because it's the oneness of God, and we can actually say, okay, this particular God allowed for this employee, allow for this staff member to be able to excel, whether it was with work, be able to excel, whether it was beating cancer, being able to excel, getting their kids through school. We should be able to feel comfortable enough to where we can give that credit without going too in depth, because the same way how you want to look at business etiquette, you got to look at it in terms of the power of the tongue, right? And the power of the tongue sometimes can lead to backbiting, which is one thing that we say with the Baha'i faith, but also regular terms, gossiping, right? So you have to make sure that you still have that level of like adequacy where you can be able to mention your God or mention your spiritual beliefs, but not feeling the need to be able to be so in depth and in detail about why you should become a believer too. Use that platform to be able to do it outside, technically, to me, still the workforce. So again, having that particular balance of being able to recognize your faith without being frowned upon, but then also not overly sharing your faith in the workforce without making people feel less than or feel or questioning their own faith to wonder if they should believe in yours. So I think that it's just important to, even just with, when it comes down to like how you mentioned, like, building that feminine energy and that leadership amongst women, like we have those skill sets naturally because we are nurturers. We are the ones that we're birthing, babies, and I don't have babies myself, but we birth babies, right? We give birth, we give life, literally. But we can also, as women, we have to take in mind again, now with business, having that business etiquette side, we can also create darkness too. So we have to be able to understand, okay, there's a line of respect, there's a line of also openness that we have to make sure that we don't cross, but we still have to be able to have that open space for it.
Absolutely. And I think, Kiara, you touched on a vital point concerning religion and the multifaceted aspect of religion today. So many different faiths. And the Baha'is do an excellent job of being compassionate and loving to all faiths and to be open to all faiths. And this is a high vibrational aspect of being, of existing on the planet, to have compassion and love for all beings, because all roads truly do lead to the one source. Wouldn't you
Yes.
agree?
Yes.
Yes, so that is a key and vital aspect. And you touched on business etiquette. Um, Being able to diffuse, let's say, a conversation that seems to be going south, so to speak, being able to diffuse that with high vibrational words that are well spoken in due time is also a part of spiritual etiquette. Would you agree?
Mhm. Oh, I 100% agree. Because the power of the tongue is literally just that. It's so powerful. So you can really speak life, or to me, to be honest, death into people. And you have to be mindful with the words. Like, even with me, I always try to be as honest as I can. I know the gift and the power of the tongue, which is where sometimes we can abuse that. And we have to make sure that we're working on making our words be more aligned with God, because we know that we have a forgiving God, right? So now if you're in the workforce and someone makes that mistake, or someone does something that you just know that they knew better, right? You have to now, this is where you have that balance. Okay, well, if you are a believer in any religion, I don't care what you believe in. If you are a believer and you respect the high power, even if you just believe in the universe, I don't care if you believe in a pencil, okay? If you believe in something outside of yourself that's going to guide you down a positive path, not just believing in anything, but believing in something that's going to give you the betterment, that's going to hold yourself accountable to say, okay, I have to be a better woman or a better man right now, tomorrow, the next day, or so forth. I feel like it's still important that you show your employees or your staff grace. You show them grace with the way you speak to them, the tone of voice that you give to them. And again, I'm preaching to myself, but again, it's the way you make sure that you're choosing your words wisely, just like the best way to put it, just like you and some people got different relationships with certain family members, but I'll just say the easiest one, your grandmother. You talk to your grandmother way differently than you may talk to anybody else. Okay, so just think about that for a second. Like, you talk to a child differently than you'll talk to anybody else, and so that's what you want to use that same when you think about a child and a senior citizen, to be in particular, right? Because we're pointing out age for a second. You think about a child because they're still learning and they're still understanding. You're thinking about a senior citizen because they're mature and they're more wise. But then we know that they are growing, and I don't like to say oh, but growing gracefully, right? So you have more patience with them because we know that they're not in that quote unquote prime time, like they will say in age difference. But what both of those two age groups have in common, including now when we think about your 30-year-olds, your 40s, your 60s, and 70-year-olds, we are all human. So we should literally be able to have that same type of energy, just like we have with that child, just like with that senior citizen, with your staff or with your employees in that line of business. Giving them grace, having forgiveness in your heart, being able to show kindness even in the act of, like, you doing something that you wasn't supposed to do. So to me, is being able to practice those virtues in the workforce without again feeling like, oh, I'm bringing my religion into the workforce.
Yes, that's an important point, Kiara, because um, it doesn't have to be good or bad. I view them as judgments when we say good or bad or right or wrong. I prefer to say high vibrational thoughts and actions and deeds as opposed to low vibrational thoughts and actions and deeds. That way, there's no judgment, there just simply is. And like you mentioned, speaking to an elderly person and to a child or even to a coworker, it's all the same. We choose the most high vibrational words to address the need at that time. So if we think in terms of vibration, because everything is energy and everything
Mhm.
is vibration, right?
Yes.
And when we speak, there's power in our voice that emits sound and vibration. And we want that vibration to be the highest vibration possible.
Exactly, exactly. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm thinking in terms of vibration and in terms of instead of right or wrong, good or bad, even negative or positive. If we move more towards the vibrational aspect of everything, then I think it'll be a more spiritual way of dealing with our everyday lives.
hmm
Now, I mentioned something earlier about the divine feminine, and that as women, the divine feminine, which is all of us, we are expected to take our rightful place as leaders in a compassionate and loving way. Do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say I feel like, honestly, I feel like women don't get enough credit. That I feel like we've been doing this forever, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of unhidden type stories, the best way to put it, in history, where women has literally been able to show like their divine feminine energy, but then also being able to still show their compassion. And I think a lot of times, I think that we, I think that now because of the power of social media, I think that it has allowed for us sometimes to not realize that we've had those, we have those traits already. It's just more of now either just for starters, you have the great news about social media. You can learn about how to embrace more in it. But then sometimes you can have that social media that make you maybe question about, okay, like, well, maybe I like, for example, I could just be very raw myself. I could say with me, like, my voice I know is very dominant, right? It's considered to be, even if I'm on my scene, I've been told that I'm very dominant, or I have like a strong masculine energy, right? But it's like, at the end of the day, from what I know within myself, I've always, for one, been a woman, very much so feminine, very much so caring, very much so loving, and also submissive as well. Now, I think sometimes the image and also too the tone of voice, I think sometimes people are so focused on that we have to also actually like listening and comprehend and to understand, the best ways to put it. So I think that it's like now, when we're thinking of feminine energy, we're immediately like, especially now, we're immediately thinking of, okay, like the perfect thing is the soft girl era, which is what I love because I'm definitely experimenting all that and enjoying it too. But when we think about the soft girl era, right? But we have to really also reflect, like, okay, what is really actually like that soft girl era, right? And when we think about it, it's like, okay, now, for an example, they're pointing out, maybe for starters, your image. Secondly, now your tone of voice. Thirdly, now it may be, what you say or how you say, right? But when you now, for example, like myself, it's like, okay, I know that I can talk more nice, right? But I am Kiara Wilson. This is my tone of voice. I know that I could dress in a 100% cover, and however I decide is what I decide. But I think that we don't want to get so caught up with um um defining who we are as women with the new divine feminine energy and being compassionate, because all of us as women walk different paths of life. We all have a different story, we all have a different journey, we all have a different experience of what we've gone through, and there should be no higher form of feminine energy in a sense than another. When we are indeed born as women, we are feminine, we are women. So to me, I think that really having that compassion and being a divine feminine woman is literally knowing thyself. When you know thyself, you can really nurture others, because you're nurturing yourself. You're nurturing yourself from your mind to your body to your soul. And to me, spirit is different, but to your spirit, like, you're literally being able to understand and focus on you, to where, okay, I'm gonna make sure that my energy, my spirit, my discernment, my character, it is leaves an impact, a positive impact, of course, but leaves an impact on anybody as soon as I walk out this house. And to me, that's divine feminine energy, without even trying to figure out how do I tap into it, because we all already have it. It's just, I think that the world itself, materialism, has allowed for, it looks like women are masculine when it's just no other way to put it. But yes, women are taking the lead in education. Women did not have rights to be able to own even a home until 1969, and that wasn't even long ago. So it's like, it's not even us trying to be dominant and masculine. It's just, hey, guess what? When we couldn't own a home, and when we couldn't vote, and when we couldn't be able to voice our opinion, we were still being that leader and that quote unquote dominant or masculine energy force with that man, because that man learned from a woman, because it
Mm.
came from a woman. So it's like, to me, I feel like we have to embracing both, embrace in the masculine energy just as much in the feminine energy too, because to me, we are the ones as women, we created both. We create both. We give birth to both. We give birth to man and we give birth to woman. There's no way that we can't have both, in our, in us, in general. And I'm saying with character, I'm saying in our spirit, even in terms of how you hustle out here. It's, let's just be honest, as women, it's hard right now. It's hard right now in 2025 to be a woman and having to take care of yourself in a sense without maybe that companionship. We don't have villages where we kind of used to anymore, where everybody is holding each other down. You have neighborhoods now where people just don't even speak anymore. But you had neighborhoods that once upon a time everybody speak and everybody know each other. Mr. Ray, Mr. Thomas, Miss Thomas, everybody in the neighborhood. So it's like I feel like we as women we're getting pointed out for being so masculine when it's kind of like, okay, well, we have wanted the rights to be able to own a home. We have wanted the rights to be able to vote because guess what? As women, we're humans. That's it. We weren't trying to sit here and actually just be homeowners by ourselves. We wasn't actually just trying to like go to the voting polls by ourselves. We just didn't want to be left out. We just wanted to be like, hey man, we love you guys and I hope you guys love me too. So much so include me in life. Include me with life. Include me just with life in general. And as women, that's why we are dominating right now. We couldn't get educated. Now we're educated. We lead it. We couldn't own homes, and now we're owning homes, and we're the top. And that's just because at the end of the day, we were excited to be a part of life. And so now it's like as if men are intimidated by this, or in a sense, or have slowed down a little bit, I guess. And you would think that I feel like because I wasn't born back then, but I'm almost certain my ancestors wanted this to happen for us so we can all as men and women be together, like be aligned. We're going like this, we're elevating, not women like this and men going like this. It's not supposed to be like what it is right now to me in today's society. So I think that it's like as I feel like more of a message to men. I think that men should respect women being in a line of business because even though we might be that boss or your manager, that still doesn't mean that we're not a woman. That still doesn't mean I'm not feminine because now I'm taking on a role of action, in a sense. Because again, like when you think about the household of just even before again we can even own homes, like still your biggest pride and possession is going to be your home, where you lay your head at night, where you able to dream at night, where you're able to nourish your body eating at night, where you're able to cleanse your body taking a shower. And who was running that? A woman. So it's just we literally have the opportunity to be able to stay in that same exact energy, but now we're also able to say, "Hey, man or sir or whoever, hey, guess what? Not only can I carry this behavior at home, but I also can be of a financial asset to this relationship or to this business or to this partnership that we have." And I feel like once more men can be able to accept it in the sense that we're more trying to nourish and help you versus trying to take over or be more masculine or be more bossy, then I think that we can start being more aligned with being able to understand that we're being women. Where is no in between.
Yes, and that cohesiveness has to start with, like you said, women acknowledging that we embody both energies, the masculine and the feminine. And there's no such thing as a masculine woman. We embody both energies, just, and it's fluid. It's the feminine dominates for the most of the time, but obviously, when we're in a business aspect and we're handling the finances and quote unquote masculine roles, we call on our masculine energies. It's just that simple. And
Mhm.
there's different variations of that as well.
Mhm.
There's the soft spoken, and then there's the more direct women that are more direct and assertive, like yourself. That is also a feminine trait. I mean, you embody all aspects of the masculine and feminine energies, and men do as well. And I think that the knowledge and understanding of this that you were just speaking of um, will lead to a greater cohesion of the sexes that we so much need. And like you said, well, like we both were discussing, that women assuming our rightful place as the leaders, compassionate leaders that can also be assertive, and men assuming their role as the providers and protectors of the divine feminine,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
embracing their divine feminine as well, which would lead to a more compassionate masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what people don't even realize is like, and trust me, I know that it's a difference because especially with us being Baha'is, right? We know that we believe in the spiritual aspect of in a sense religion, but then he talks about science. Baha'u'llah talks about science a lot. So I 100% want people to understand that I know that it is a difference between a man and a woman scientifically. That's something that I never want to make it seem like as if like I know that it's a difference. And now I 100% I will always make that known too. I respect all genders, too as well. I know people are now comfortable, so I do respect all genders. But the one thing that I've struggled with and that I've noticed about our society is how we're putting so many like titles on top of having a good character, right?
Mm.
Having a good like personality, the best way to put it, right? Like when you think about protectors, we think about masculine energy, right? But that's very much so a feminine energy to have because we are mothers. So you think about when people when they have that saying like, hey, listen, like a mother is going to protect her cub, right? So is that a masculine energy? So it's like, no, that is a much so, that is a feminine energy. So as women, we're wanting, if anything, for men that they don't really understand too, is that like that protection doesn't mean of the physical realm. Okay, it doesn't just means like protection. I'm scared. Like that protection means that same protection you want from that woman, aka what men say, I need peace. Oh, women, we need peace too, baby. So it's like, to me, I'm like, hey, you guys, we're literally, and like I said, it's not to make us seem like, hey, we're one and the same, but we all are human being. That's what I try to, and that's why I love the Baha'i faith, the oneness of humanity. When we could just take a second and just not say man or versus woman or just for a second, human being to human being. You want to be loved, I want to be loved. You want to be respected, I want to be respected. You want to be cared for, nurtured. You want to get recognition when you do a good job at your at your job for today and you got that sale or whatever the case may be. The same way you want your spouse to be proud of you for cleaning up the dishes and you don't ever clean up. So in other words, it's like everybody still wants that natural attention. You still want that recognition. So it's like honestly, we all want the same. So that's what made me start realizing, okay, I have to bring in this spiritual integrity into my business because I know that ultimately speaking, the oneness of humanity is everything. And if I could be able to allow for those virtues to be able to be like actually expanding, not just being black and white when I'm at business, but then oh my gosh, I love you, in my personal life, right? Or oh my gosh, I love God in my spiritual world. Like being able to bring in that same love and energy with employees, with the staff members, team members, like being able to know, okay, guess what? I see you as a human outside of a team member, outside of me being your boss. I see you. I love you and I care for you and I believe in you and I trust you. This is why you're with my company. Right. So it's like, okay, that same grace, and you're not God, right? But you can hire right now, So it's like, in other words, or even just a team member, you could just not be cool with your team member. Who knows? But it's being able to have that energy of going, okay, I want to make sure that God forgives me. God is giving me grace and mercy. You're praying that you wake up every day. You're hoping that, either if you have a love life or if you're wanting a love life that lasts forever. So you want to make sure that, okay, now you don't have to close off that part of you because it's a part of you once you clock in your 9 to 5. You still carry that same energy, but again, you still hold those now boundaries. There's certain conversations that people carry that they don't carry with other friends. You have certain friends that you have certain conversations with. You say certain things to maybe, and like I said, people have different relationships with their family members, but you may say certain things to family members or certain family members that you don't say to another. So that's how now when you go into the workforce, you kind of know, still have to have that balance. Like, okay, I still know there's certain things that I can't really say in this particular setting right now, but I can be able to say this later. And that's the beauty about, to me, being in tune with yourself, is that just because you are religious does not mean that you still are not human, if that makes sense. You don't have to live off perfection. You don't
Mm.
have to live and feel like everything you do is quote unquote, like you even mentioned how you said, like, right or wrong or good or bad, right? You listen, as long as you're working for high vibrations, you know when your vibration is low. So your goal is to be able to just naturally speak it, okay, let me work on that. And I tell people all the time, leave that impact. Let people remember who you are and they can't help but to smile. Even if y'all not cool anymore, they'll remember that moment. Even if you're not with that company anymore, they'll remember those sales. They'll remember that energy that you gave when you came in the office every morning. So to me, the same grace that we expect for the higher power, the universe, astrology, all of this, right? We expect for it to just shower upon us and all this, and then we not work towards it. So, working towards it is not just within ourselves, but then now once we are in tune with ourselves, pour that love out and pour that nourishment out and pour that forgiveness and grace out. Again, I'm preaching to myself, to others. And I think we can't be perfect like God, but I think that it will allow for us to have the balance of being able to be more in tune with God, but then also still being a part of the world with not and not becoming of the world.
Perfect way to conclude this conversation, Kiara. Thank you so much for joining me,
Thank
and I
you.
look forward to interviewing you again.
Yes, 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 certainly. And then I'll have to interview you too.
Oh, thank you. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. And next time as well, I'll be posting your contact information if you would like to have that done next time.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Well, remember next time, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
It was live.
Hey, listen, y'all, we did this in 24 hours. So talk about a hustler. I definitely do
Yeah.
appreciate you. Once again, Monica, for just giving me the opportunity.
And thank you for joining Kiara. I appreciate you. See you next time.
All right, thank you guys.
Take care. Thank you for joining us for Simply Spiritual. We'll see you next time.